Hello, everyone. I wanted to make sure. There's Sharice. Hi.
Hello.
And Don. Hello, welcome. Oh, you look lovely.
Thank
Sharice, you look very lovely. All right, now let me get the sound going. So, I wanted to welcome everyone to our wealth building webinar. Um, and this is the first of many, but it's the wealth building conversation. And so I have so many conversations with my associates on a regular daily basis that I just want to share these conversations with, I want to say, Black business owners in general, women business owners, people of color in business, because there's a lot of conversations that we have with different associates that can help us to build wealth. All right, now, do I have to, Sharice, do I have to unmute you or can you unmute yourself?
I can unmute myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you look lovely. So happy to have you. Now, how are you today? Now, Sharice is our first guest. And Sharice, can you please introduce us and tell us what you do and who you are? And why do we need to know you and how you help people build wealth,
Okay.
basically?
So thank you for having me, Deanna. I partner with Grants Financial Services, and Deanna is one of my colleagues, and we definitely have a lot of conversations about strategy and just how to build wealth personally and for our businesses, and definitely how we can always serve our communities. But to give you an introduction of myself, my name is Sharice Wilkes. I live in Orlando, Florida, and I am the owner and founder of Affinity Consulting Group, which is a 10-year-old management consulting firm. We are women and minority certified, and we help government clients as well as small businesses and select nonprofits with business and strategic operational planning, resource acquisition. So with resources, we help them acquire grants, contracts, sponsorships, CDFI funding, you name it. We've got experts on board to help with that. In addition to that, we also found that our clients may have some problems managing six-figure or multi-million-dollar projects. So we help them with the project management for their projects or programs. And we have also since launched a formal training academy called the Fund Finders Academy, which launches in the spring, where we will be giving our clients as well as individuals in the community more training so that they can do these things for themselves, and they're being taught by subject matter experts. And so we're going to be bringing you information on grants, contracts, again, taxes, accounting, different sources of wealth building strategies, and help you help yourselves. And so we are launching that in the spring, and we're looking forward to it. Indiana is one of our partners. We have a campaign coming up. And just to tell you about our impact to date, we have actually acquired over $84 million for our
Whoa,
employers and
$84
clients.
million.
Yes, and we have helped them manage over 310 million. So
Now,
that's
is this Black business owners or just?
so predominantly in terms of my government contracts, several of the decision makers have not necessarily been African American, but when I do work with small businesses and nonprofits, I do work with Black businesses, but I am open. My whole thing as a community development person is that I want to help multiple communities in different states. So we do actually serve nationwide. We're just not subject to working in the state of Florida. And my goal for my own legacy is to be able to say I've had an impact in multiple communities.
Okay, and so this is my question for you also. Now, I know business is green, right? And that's why I got green on. Business is green, but what I wanted to have these conversations because I just feel as if people of color sometimes don't have as much, they're not privy to all of these conversations about these contracts and different things. So what are some things that you have noticed or feel like is a setback as far as I don't even want to just say Black people, but just people, minorities in general, and how they're not able to access this capital, access the grant funding? What are some of the things that are preventing like smaller businesses from getting actually these opportunities? Because these $1 million, you just said $84 million. These
Yes.
opportunities are out there.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
out there. Yeah.
So I would say number one, I think for a lot of business owners, you have to decide who you want to be upfront, what you want to do, and how you want to serve in this world. Start immediately deciding if your goal as a business owner is to just create a source of income so that you can replace your income for working with for someone, and you just want to be able to replace that income that you're earning from an employer. If not, set the idea in your head that you're going to employ individuals and build teams and grow your business, and understand that it takes longer to actually achieve growth. As I said, I'm a 10-year company, multi six-figure business. Hopefully, will soon grow to 1 million. But yes,
Yes.
there are people out here, you see them on Instagram making 1 million like immediately. They're fewer and far in between. Small businesses are our economic fabric for our entire US economy. And if you talk to many business owners, it took time to grow. So some of the things that you need to do is start up front with setting up what your plan is, what your vision is, and where you want to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Do you want to sell your business? Do you want to make it a family business and have kids or other members take over your business for succession planning? Additionally, don't definitely start out and make sure that immediately, whatever your secret sauce is and your unique value proposition and your zone of genius, get that down on paper and start documenting your processes up front from day one. Once you document those processes, you can then figure out how to automate and get back the value of your time as you are growing your business. And then also the fact that you have additional time allows you to do one important thing, which is to network. We are as strong as our collaborators, our partners, our team, our network. And that is so vitally important. And I think that we miss a lot of that. You have to be open to meeting new people and networking and moving in these spaces with other people who talk about money and finance and
Right.
wealth generation. Everyone, even with wealth generation, sometimes we can be introverts, but we have to turn on and get out here and actually like move in these circles in the spaces that we want to be in, and have a voice while you're there. Ask questions.
Right.
There is no dumb question. So certainly ask questions and get to know people, and then make sure that you add value as well to the people who are being added to your network. Don't just take, give as well.
So what I wanted to also, I want to get to kind of some of the nitty gritty, and then I'm going to ask some other questions.
Okay.
But for me, what I want to say is, would you like, we did a webinar about economic injury disaster loan fund,
Yeah.
right? And then PPP, Paychecks Protection Program, was prevalent this year. But this is what I'm saying. There's 84, I think you said $84 million. I think you said you managed, have got
Yeah.
contracts, grants, 310 million.
Yes.
However, everyone does not have access to it. So what I've noticed as an accountant is that a lot of small business owners, they don't have their paperwork together. Yes, you want to have a plan and a vision, but there's a lot of like just regular routine
Mhm.
documentation that prevents us from getting these grant opportunities. So
Yeah.
my question to you was more of, what are some of those like documents that people don't, they don't have, like, you know, you'll have a strategy session with someone and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, you don't qualify.
Got it. So the biggest thing for everyone, in all honesty, happens to deal with having financial statements for your business, making sure that you have a bookkeeper and a tax accountant or an accountant CPA on board who can help you. If that, again, is not your zone of genius, hire somebody to do it. And you need to build in the budget to do that. When it comes to your other documents, you know, having a separate business bank account. Number
Yeah.
one, never, ever, ever commingle your funds. You need to have everything, whether you're a business, a nonprofit, or even government entities, they have several funds set up where they track expenses for that particular endeavor. And you need to do the same with your business. I cannot stress how important it is to also make sure that business owners take care of your personal credit, because that also leads to business credit. Normally, when you are starting out getting business credit, they do pull your personal credit. And the better your score is, you usually need typically about a 640 to start out. But if you're in the 700s, 800s, getting access to capital is so much easier. So make sure that you protect that at all costs. Pay down debts, keep your debt to income ratio low, and certainly work on building some of those items. Taxes. I cannot stress how many
Yeah.
people and nonprofits do not file their taxes on time, and they are years behind. That is one of the biggest key factors, which I'm sure other people will speak about, that impedes your ability to access capital to go after lines of credits, loans, all of that sort of stuff. So those are a few of the type of financial documents that you need. But additionally, into me talking about your business planning and strategic documents, those are also needed. Sometimes on grant applications, they may ask you for a copy of your business model, your business plan. Additionally, they may ask you, well, what
What
was
about
your
like
revenue?
meeting minutes, like
Yeah,
corporate
meeting
meeting
minutes,
minutes and your
board minutes, all
bylaws
of
and
that sort of stuff. They want your operational agreement for a line of credit. There's so much documentation that you need to have. So those are a couple of the key points where people kind of miss the mark on being able to pursue funding.
okay, so I know you had said something about CDFI. What
Yeah.
exactly is that? What is a CDFI?
So CDFIs are community development financial institutions. I am not an employee of one. However, I do partner with several to help small businesses access capital. And when I say access capital, if you bank with a large bank like the Wells Fargo's, the Truist, the Bank of America's, they typically have clientele who are very large corporations. And yes, they do serve small businesses, but as we saw with PPP this year, they gave funding out to those large corporations first, and small businesses fell through their cracks. So with CDFIs, they are financial lending institutions developed. They have to apply to the federal government to create a nonprofit and the financial institution, and they provide microloans. So when I say microloans, it could be, some of them have $500 up to, or as little as $5,000 for you to be able to get funding to operate your business or expand your business. And so they have loan products, whether you're providing services, products, or you're also in construction. They can give you government loans as well, which are backed by your government contracts. So I definitely say that if you are not with a large bank or you want to leave a large bank, I am an advocate of credit unions.
Yeah.
Many credit unions are CDFIs, or Google CDFI in my area and you can find a location. I work with 2 CDFIs that are based here in Florida, so you are always welcome to call me and I can hook you up with their funding strategy and their pipeline.
So I know like in Illinois, and I think this one's national,
National.
Axiom.
Yes, Axion
Axiom,
is
yeah.
national.
So Axiom, we had several clients during this whole COVID crisis get funding
Mhm.
from Axiom.
Yes,
And some of it was loans, and then some of it was, I think most of it was loans. I think
yeah,
most of it was, no, they had some like grant programs, like Axion was the fiduciary for the grant funding. And so some of my businesses that I work with, they were given like 10K, 20K that they did not have to pay back because of their relationship with the CDFI.
correct. And so another large CDFI that people may have heard of is LISC.
Oh yeah.
LISC is known for affordable housing and community development and et cetera, but they are also a CDFI. And they have been giving out grants on a bi-monthly or quarterly basis during all of 2020 and have partnered with larger corporations who have provided them with seed money to give out to small businesses. You do have to submit an application. It's essay lifestyle, plus they are asking you for financial information. So you need to know what your sales were for last year, how much profit you made, your net profit. But they may also ask you to explain in detail, how will this grant funding help you expand your business or stay in business post-pandemic or during the pandemic?
So
And so,
basically, having your financials, I just want to
oh,
reiterate,
oh,
having your financials is key to accessing capital and accessing these additional opportunities.
yes.
So
And
that's awesome.
yeah, I love LISC. They're a great partner for my government clients as well, and they're a great partner for small businesses. But there are plenty of CDFIs within your state, so it doesn't necessarily have to be Axion or LISC. So there is a CDFI list.
Okay, so what is community development and why should business owners care?
So I like to define community development as like a systematic and intentional process of implementing policy directives, fostering economic development, and creating continual and sustainable like improvements to your community and built environment. The reason that business owners should care is because businesses are, again, the fabric of our economy. And whether you are going to work for someone, you get a paycheck from them, you're going to work for a business. They provide jobs. Business owners sit on boards. They volunteer their time and their services to nonprofits. Business owners also create pipelines for students to get jobs and gain skills, et cetera. Also, business owners should care because business owners also have a strong advocacy part in helping to shape policies and directives, not only at the local level, but also at the national level. Tax law changes that came
Yeah,
from the business community.
yeah.
So, people need to hear from them, whether it's your uh, politicians or just everyday people. Businesses basically make up the United States and our economy globally, and we need business owners as much as we need to breathe.
Okay, and we want to thank Bruce Montgomery for placing these awesome links in the chat about the CDFIs and etc. Okay, so my one of my last questions are, what are 3 to 5 tips? I actually have 2 questions for you, but
Okay.
what are 3 to 5 tips you can share with other business owners that you wish you would have knew as you were growing your business to 6 figures and now to multiple 6 figures? 3 to 5 tips.
Again, for me, because I am guilty of doing it myself, it was definitely documenting processes sooner rather than later. I do have a lot of processes automated now, but I could have saved myself so much time by doing that sooner. And additionally, if I were documenting things, I could have done things differently in terms of growing my team. More so getting to the point quicker where I use less contractors or have more employees at this point.
And I'm just trying to break this all the way down. So it's very simple because wealth building can be complex. When you say documenting, give us a real life example. Like,
So
right,
the-
I
for
need to, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, documentation means, again, I will write down the steps. For instance, when I am training someone, write down the steps of how do you submit this application, for instance. So it is your step-by-step processes for how you do things. You can either write it, create a video, or I have a Lean and Six Sigma certification as well. I use visual process maps. I love anything that can be placed on one page. Decision matrices, yes or no. We do this
Yeah.
when this happens, if then. So it is getting to that level of detail that is important to make your business run more efficiently, save you time, save you money, and also it adds to the value of your company because you can then sell that part of your company off because somebody else can replicate what you do. And that's key, is replication. So those are things that I would tell people to do up front. Also, recognize that as you start off, you may be doing it by yourself. You will run yourself into the ground if you do not create what your vision is for creating a team. Whether you do that with interns at first, you barter services with another business, or you simply say, hey, let's partner on this particular package that we're going to offer together. We can split the revenues, but we're going to do this together because two people are better than one. Don't burn yourself out trying to be the jack of all trades and the only person running your business and not build your team. So I would say definitely those are like key things that I feel are important. And then always know your numbers. You got to
know your number. Yeah. So one of my mentors, he says you can hustle your way to your first 6 figures, but then after that, it's actually time to implement strategy.
Yes.
It's actually time to implement strategy. Let's see. And my last and final question is, you briefly touched on fund finders, but that sounds so intriguing and interesting. I'm like, that sounds like something that could help build wealth. What exactly is fund finders? And just give us more details on the fund finding system process.
So the Fund Finders, again, is going to be our academy. So it's going to be on a learning management system that will sit on our website, thefundfinders.com. It's still under development, but we're going to be hosting classes and selling those online courses that can be taken on demand at any time. We will host live webinars. Earlier this year, I have given 7 to like a Black technology group that's on Facebook. Deanna and I have done some training on SBA funding with the EIDL and PPP, but that type of detail and information that we gave on those webinars, it is on our YouTube page, but we are also going to be putting more detailed classes in smaller bite-sized modules that take you through things step by step. I am one person, my team members, they are people with families and lives as well. And while we work on very large scale projects at times, we do get a lot of clients who need to know some basic information or they're at intermediate level. And it's our goal to build out a whole suite of classes for grants, business funding, acquiring government contracts, because we're adept at that, getting your minority and women business certifications and why that's important. So we're going to have a lot of classes on there. I have an expert who also does angel investing and venture capital funding, and he's developing a class for that. He does this abroad over in the UK as well. So he's going to be coming on board. If you need to know how to pitch, creating effective pitch decks, stuff like that, we're going to be talking about those. So will it be built all in 2021? No, but that's why you guys are going to follow us and take our classes as we roll them out, but we will give you what we know because that's what we want our legacy to be.
Now, please tell us, how can we follow you? How can we contact you? All of that good, all of those good nuggets, but that definitely sounds like something that could help business owners build wealth.
Yes.
I'm super excited about the Fund Finders project. I can't wait till 2021.
I know.
But how can we get in contact with you?
All right. So to follow the Fund Finders, you can go to Twitter or IG, which is the Fund Finders with an S. Also, just me personally, I can be found with my name on LinkedIn and Facebook. So I accept all friend requests, and what I do on there is public. So when I do post, everything is on there. And then I do have a business page on Facebook for Affinity Consulting that will just kind of be more of that management consulting arm, contracting arm, but the individual classes are going to be branded with the Fund Finders Academy, which is our service. So that's
and this is Cherise Wilkes.
Yes.
Cherise Wilkes.
RRISE. Last name is WILKS.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. Me and you always have awesome conversations. Cherise is so organized, and that project management hat, she definitely is always trying to access actually help our community, help and support our community to gain access to capital. But I enjoy every conversation that I have with her personally and professionally. And she's one of, I want to say, my wealth building, not just associate, but partners. Yes. She is one of my wealth building partners for the community. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a blessed Super Saturday.
You. I'm going to
Okay,
stay on and
thank
learn from
you.
everybody else too.
Okay. All right. So thank you everyone for joining us. Now I have Don Rogers next. I'm not sure if there he is. I have Don Rogers. Don Rogers is a PNC. Now, can you tell, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I know you're a vice president at PNC Bank. And if you could please give us your title and exactly tell us what you do.
Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I am Don Rogers. I am one of the actual senior vice presidents over at PNC. I run PNC's Merchant Services Group here for Chicago and Wisconsin. So it's a pleasure today.
Thank you so much for joining me. All right, and you also we've been trying to connect, not just connect, but you are one of my associates and partners in crime in the Chicagoland area. As far as like banking, because the relationship you have with your banker as you're building wealth is essential.
It is.
And so a lot of business owners are just going to the bank, making deposits, but when you are building wealth, you now should have a relationship with the banker, because the banker helps you to access funding, access capital, get your merchant service accounts together, not have your business and your personal account in the same bank account. So Don, thank you so much for joining us here.
No problem.
Now, I got a couple of questions for you because we're just having a conversation today. You okay with
Beautiful.
that?
Let's go.
All right. Okay. So now, how should a business owner keep a relationship with a banker? How do you do that?
Well, it really boils down to effective communication with everyone. When I say effective communication, of course, that doesn't mean you need to pick up the phone and call or text or what have you, but you should always keep your business banker abreast of what you're doing with your business, your direction, where you see yourself. If you've hit any kind of snags in your business, that stuff should be conveyed, because believe it or not, guys, we are, and I speak for, PNC being one of the larger banks here, but we are really, really, really focused on our small business customers. It's with everything that's going on now, we've been able to shift our focus more so from our mid to larger companies down to our smaller ones, because you guys are the ones that are going to really push through this and end up on the other side. So, communication is an email. A communication is when you stop in the branch. If you are able to go into a branch, your branches, stop in there and just speak to the people, get to know them, build that relationship. I've watched Deanna. You've come into one of my offices for years and years, and everybody knows you. That goes far. When you need things, that goes so far.
Okay, so I just want to kind of break that down, because I want to, because I talk to, like I said, all of my associates all the time, I kind of want to break that down. So I actually had a conversation, or it was another webinar I was a part of, and they were talking about your relationship with your banker. I heard you say we should send an email. So in this webinar, we talked about you send an email to your banker because you want to have a relationship. So in our relationships, for them to be strong, we actually have continuous communication. It's not oh, hey, this month, and then you don't forget about the person for 7-8 months. You must have a conversation, consistent communication. And so what that also means is how to update the banker. So for example, maybe I am starting a new line. So I'm like, hey, I'm doing this new business tax product service offering, and then maybe I'll send it to the banker. Or I'm having a webinar about wealth building. I'm actually going to invite my banker. I'm going to send an email to the banker to invite them to everything that I'm doing in my business. So when I need money and need funding, I'm starting the relationship before I need anything. And that's how I'm keeping the relationship, by simply like communicating consistently. I'm not sure if it's every 2-month check-in, but you basically send your highlights. So like, do people, when you're working with business owners, do they ever say, hey, my sales this month were, how detailed are these emails?
They can be, as detailed as you want them to be. Communication just needs to be effective. Doesn't matter the form, it just needs to be effective. So And remember, if we're your bank, we can see how business is going. We can see what's going on. It's the difference is that when you have assigned business bankers, when you have, let's say, a banker at a branch that you built that relationship with, communication, again, just needs to be effective. So they can see, they get reports, they're able to see what you're doing for the month. I mean, people are not, let me be clear, we're not prowling through your accounts, but we are able to look at them and see how sales are going, because there are always going to be outreach activities for additional products and additional services. So a lot of times people do have to go into your accounts and do research, and they're able to see sales. They're able to see a slow month. When it comes to merchant, we're able to go in there and see how many credit cards you took for the month. We're able to see that stuff. So again, communication just needs to be effective. And that can be any way you want, because what you want to do is you want to separate yourself from the other hundreds of business owned clients that they have.
Yeah.
I have, when I was actually, in charge of sales, I had 2,000 clients in my book of business. However, it was about 50 that stood out because they managed that effective communication, whether it was just an email, just a text, whatever. They invited me to stuff like this. I mean, it was just, and those people are the ones, those clients are the ones that I always made sure I went above and beyond for. So again, you have to massage that relationship with communication, but more importantly, effective communication. And I really hope that answered your question, Deanna.
Okay, yes, it did. Okay, so my next question is line of credit. It always we always want to get, when you're building wealth, you need access to capital. Now, how can a small business owner actually, it always seemed like an urban myth to me, or it just seems so challenging for my clients to get a line of credit from a major bank. How do we get a line of credit from a major bank?
It's really, it's a saying that goes on, guys, is that when you need credit, you can't get it. When you don't need it, that's when you can get it. And that does hold true. And Kendra actually, Sharice actually touched on it earlier about how it's going to be essential for you guys to make sure that your personal credit is as best as it can be. If you have anything outstanding, pay that stuff off if you can, and really put yourself in a position to come to a bank and get lending. Now, of course, there are a lot of other things that need to happen. You need to show sales. You need to show us the ability that you can pay us back. And even if your business fails, you can pay us back. That's what we want to know.
So what documents are needed to get a line of credit from like a major bank? What documentation is needed?
And I'm really just speaking really specific.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's all based on industry, it's based on all that stuff. But generally, 2 years of taxes. And then we
2 years of taxes.
2 years of taxes.
Yeah,
So you need to have a really good accountant, and we need to show positive cash flow. So 2 years of taxes, positive cash flow, which is, it's a double-edged sword, because a lot of times we want to claim losses on our businesses for tax write-offs, et cetera, et cetera. And that stuff really bites you guys when it's time for lending, because you've been showing us that you're losing money so you can pay less taxes. But now you want to buy a building to expand your business, but you don't look good on paper. So, it's a double-edged sword. Always consult your accountant. Make sure that you're doing the right things. Make sure you're reporting the right sales and that stuff. And again, personal credit, personal credit, personal credit.
Now, I call that little story that you said, I call that the little entrepreneur that cried wolf. So what happens is that, I'm not going to say all entrepreneurs, but what happens is, for tax purposes, a lot of business owners, their whole strategy is the write-off strategy. So that's the strategy where they take all their expenses and try to write off everything possible, where their income for the year is negative. However, it's a catch-22, because what happens is that moment that you're ready to go see Don, you're like, hey, I'm ready to go to PNC Bank. I am ready to get a loan. And then you had a loss on your taxes, and you had a loss on your taxes in the year 2019. You got a loss on your taxes in year, let's say year 2018. You got a loss on your taxes in 2019. And then you go to try to go get a bank loan, and the bank is like, you're broke on paper. Like, why would I ever think about lending you any money when you can't turn a profit in this business? And so when you're trying to grow and scale your business, there becomes a different mindset that you have to have. It's the wealth building mindset. And that includes on your tax, just being profitable in your business. Another thing that I see, like I had a couple entrepreneurs actually recently, because a lot of entrepreneurs do not like to pay for bookkeeping. They don't, for some reason, financial statements and bookkeeping is something that is put on the back burner. But when you're trying to grow and you're trying to access these different opportunities, the banker, they ask for a current profit and loss statement. And if you don't have at least your own QuickBooks file or anything like that, you can't even produce a profit and loss statement. And so you're already counting yourself out. Like you cannot get access to the opportunity. All right, so now Don.
And that was, again, that was well said. 80% of the businesses that come through our doors out of our 190 branches here don't qualify, because just like you said, they're not reporting profit. Why would we want to give you money if you're not even making money in your own business? And I think, again, that's why, educating and making sure that we are here for you guys and building that relationship again with your banker. Because again, we get a lot of people that sit across from the desk from us and they lie to us and say, hell, I'm turning a profit. I'm like, well, your paperwork that you have to get is going to tell a whole nother story. So if you're honest, tell us what you're doing. We can help you structure this lending request, because the people that you're sitting across from, believe it or not, have a lot of power in that loan going to the next stages to be potentially approved. Just know that.
All right, so let's talk about merchant services, right? Let's talk about merchant services and bank benefits. So what are the benefits to having a merchant service account? And I don't want to, is it with PNC Bank or with a major bank? What are the benefits or the bank benefits to having a merchant service account?
So for the business owner, the benefits, of course, are you providing your clients with an effective and safe way to pay you. So the account's receivable. So you want to sell a product or service. How do you want to be paid? That's what a merchant services account does. That allows you to receive payment. And these are going to be in the form of plastic. So Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express. A lot of the bigger banks do offer in-house merchant services. I always encourage you guys, and I'm not trying to push anybody towards PNC. PNC is one of the banks that we have our own in-house credit card processing, but you always want to stick with a bank that has in-house credit card processing, because you're able to get cheaper rates, because you are going to have to pay a percentage of your sales. And that's what a merchant account is.
However, I get that cash now. No 30, 60, 90 days for me. Like I'm able to not, instead of me invoicing my customer and having to wait till the customer pays me, I could have a merchant service account and I can get paid with their debit card, credit card, etc. I can get paid faster. So I have cash, so I have better cash flow in my business.
And it's always, merchant services is going to always increase cash flow. It's going to actually shield you guys from, fraud and things like that, from checks and even cash. There's a such thing as cash fraud as well. It really puts you guys at ease as far as collecting. It increases your cash flow, like Deanna said, and it gives you the money quicker, much quicker. I mean, instantly. We pull money instantly now. So as soon as a card is swiped, let's say you have a store, you have a machine, as soon as that card is swiped, they can go to their online and see that we've debited their account right away. We don't play. We take that money right away.
Okay, so we had a quick question. So it said, how long does it take to correct the tax method to show a profit so that we can get access to funding? Now, I know from on my end, what I know is I've actually had to amend taxes for a client before. And I know the bank typically wants 2 years of tax returns or financial information. So to amend a tax return, that's a 6 to 8 week process with the IRS. I'm not saying that that's what I would recommend. It's going to be situational, but I would say if a business owner knows that they want to access capital, they should start with this year's tax return in 2020. Now, this is interesting. I just want to have a conversation with you, Don. I'm not sure. This year, it was COVID. COVID was very rampant this year. Do you have any insightful information to share with us as businesses are trying to get capital given
the
COVID?
situation of the year?
Yeah.
So I've been in a lot of meetings regarding how we're going to extend capital, especially going into Q1 of 2021.
Yeah.
There are going to be some programs in place. We've thrown across the table a few times about not including 2020 and just doing 18 and 19, and then we thrown across the table including 2020 but having a modified version. So the lending, and again I'm speaking very general, guys,
Yes.
lending criteria has been lowered. This is something that we're not advertising. It has been lowered to assist our clients. In many cases, there are so many programs now with government, things like that, to help a lot of businesses stay afloat. But, again, when you think about 2020 and we're thinking about going into 2021, when we look back on 2020, we're going to be looking at it from a different lens. Again, you still want to show profit. If you were closed for several months, you need to be able to prove that. These are things that, of course, we're going to be looking at it in a holistic effort going into 2021 and beyond, because we have a few more years of really the financial kind of storm that we've been in. We have a couple of years to really go with this. So how we look at lending is really going to be changed, I would say, for at least the next 2 to 4 years.
Now, I have a question. So this is something I'm kind of suggesting to clients. I wonder if PNC has this option. So there's an option where you can get like you can get a CD, and then you're able to get a line of credit off of the CD. Have you heard of that? It's
a secured loan. It's a secured
loan.
You don't pay back. We know that we can get it from the CD. And with the CD, we tie up the CD, so we're able to hold those funds until that loan, of course, is fulfilled. And many times that's not our first course of action. We don't like to really do the secured loans because it doesn't. You're giving us $10,000, so you can borrow $10,000 to pay back $15,000. So we don't necessarily encourage that. I have seen it as an offering to get a loan done. But
does it start the relationship? Because I sometimes talk about it because I'm like, look, this starts the relationship so that you can prove that you are a good candidate to repay the loan back, just as an option.
Yeah, it can work, and it can be a secured loan or it can be a secured card. I would always, my advice for anybody that calls me is always check with your business banker, see what the underwriter is requesting, because they might not request that.
Okay.
I would want to volunteer anything that's not requested. Trust me, if the bank wants something, they're going to ask you, they're going to say, hey, we need to see X, Y, Z. And then you be ready to do X, Y, Z.
Okay.
Because you might go ahead and proactively do X, but you don't need to do X.
And as a business scaling from like $250,000 to 7 figures, right, and beyond, what would you say as a banker that they should do? Maybe 1 to 2 things that the business owner should do, because I feel like when you're definitely going to need capital, you're going to need more capital. And I don't know, that's a broad question, but I want to hear what you had to say.
The same. We treat our big corporations like our small ones. Personal again is looked at. Profit and loss is looked at. Clean books are looked at, and collateral.
Clean books, profit and loss statement, tax returns, and your personal credit.
And collateral.
Collateral. Okay.
Whenever you're asking for a loan, always ask yourself, because this is what the bank is asking, how are you going to pay us back if your business defaults?
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Don. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure and joy. Thank you for sharing all of those wealth building principles and wealth building knowledge with us. And now we understand how we can get access to capital as well as have a great merchant service account. Thank you so much.
And I'm going to stay on, guys, for a little bit too.
Thank you. All right. So on to my next guest, Kim, Kim Thomas, right? Hey, Kim, how are you? Now you got to unmute yourself, Kim. Please unmute yourself. Hello, beautiful. How are you?
How are you today? Merry Christmas.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas.
Spirit. I have on my red because
Yes.
it's the time of giving. It's the time of just basking in how we got through 2020. We may not be where we want to be, but we here.
Yes. And so I want to introduce Kim Thomas. She's my next guest and also one of my, like I said, business associates. I want to even say friend, business associate and friend that I talk to on a regular basis. And we have coin conversations. We have money building conversations. Like I enjoy talking to Kim because I get to do my like two loves together. I could talk about something personal like kids, like, ooh, my daughter, teenager, or I could talk about what account should I put my money in, or how should money grow, or I have a client that's doing this and this. What type of life insurance should we get this client into? So Kim, I would like for you to introduce yourself and tell us, what do you do?
So I am Kimberly Thomas. I'm a wealth accumulation and conservation specialist with Kimco International. I've been in business since 1998. I love what I do. I help individuals, nonprofits, and small and mid-sized businesses make smart choices with your very, very hard-earned dollars. 2020 has been a very interesting year for families and for small businesses, but we're making it. And it's because we have some things in place and we worked hard to get to where we are, and we got a long way to go. So what I do is I just help people put plans of wealth accumulation in place. What I do is monitor their short and long-term goals, and then I cheer them on because they're going to make it happen.
All right. So now, Kim, I have my first question for you, and this is very interesting. Why does the word wealth make people uncomfortable? Why does that word make people uncomfortable?
You know what, Dee? It doesn't make you and I uncomfortable.
No, we like it. We like that word.
Ooh, we got chills, don't we? Because we've been training for it. You know, some people, it makes them uncomfortable because they haven't been in training for it. You and I, we work with people who have money on their minds at all times. But most people, they are 1 to 2 paychecks away from disaster land. And that would make them feel uncomfortable. And they haven't trained, they haven't had the conversations that you and I have. And they need that. Sometimes people need to make some changes to get to where they want to go. So with wealth making people feel uncomfortable, the first thing I would say is let's get comfortable and have a millionaire mindset. Like, let's read about this money. Let's find out what it is that we need to do to attract the money, as well as other books that talk about wealth is The Wealth Choice. And I like this by Dennis Kimbrough because it really breaks it down to the simple, where people can kind of understand, you know what? It doesn't matter where you start. Just start.
Yeah.
It does not matter. So I think because people don't understand that 1 cent becomes 2 cents, becomes 3 cents because we systematically put it away. We have a systematic saving strategy. And a lot of people don't get comfortable with wealth because they haven't trained, they're not having good conversations, and they don't have systematic saving strategies that they have committed to, no matter what is going on, no matter if coronavirus is going on, or no matter if nothing bad is happening, that we have systematic saving strategies put in place.
So so that's one of the things I definitely recommend to my clients is automated and consistent. And so what that means is with your bank account, most of the major banks have some sort of way where you could actually schedule transfers. And it really just starts with just starting to do it. I actually did an exercise last year, and I have actually, one of my associates introduced me to Kim, but I want to just talk about my whole process. So last year, because I'm like, I want to personally save more money. So what I did was automatically, I took $100 out of my bank account and I had to transfer to a savings account, and it $100 all year. So by the time I got to the end of the year, and this, I actually probably end up adding more, but by the end of the year, it was like $7,000 saved, which I find that when you keep the money in that bank account and you don't allocate it systematically, you spend it all. So you must like trick yourself to control. But what happened was I saved up that amount of money, and this was actually a business savings account. So I saved up that amount of money, and then Kim and I, we met at our annual year-end session because Kim is my financial planner. And so we not only talk about other business financial opportunities, but she's my personal person that I use to build wealth. And so we had our annual meeting, and you went over my daughter's goals. I have a 14-year-old daughter, my daughter's goals, my goals, and et cetera. And then I got this perfect product, which I'm so excited about. I did the executive bonus compensation plan. That sounds so grand. Could you explain to us how that works? Because I got a business tax write-off for that plan, as well as there's an associated insurance product with it. So it's like a double sword. It's a double-edged sword.
It truly is. It truly is. And one of my favorite books that really introduced me to that is the Tax-Free Retirement Strategies. So people can use tax-free retirement strategies if they have a small or mid-sized business, as well as if they have a nonprofit, as well as if they don't have a business at all and they just want to retire comfortably and they don't want to pay taxes on it. So when you and I got together, we started talking about those IRAs. Everybody wants to get an IRA. Everybody it's so sexy. It's so seductive, an IRA. And so I like IRAs, but the specific IRA that I truly like is the Roth IRA.
The Roth IRA.
So that Roth IRA is phenomenal.
And IRA is, I just want to just break everything down very simplistically. IRA, Roth IRA, what does IRA mean?
Okay, so IRA is individual retirement account. And so quite a few people have those. They can have them by themselves, they can start them themselves, or either they can start them on their jobs. A type of an IRA that most people have on their jobs is a 401k. That is underneath the IRA umbrella. So when you and I got a chance to talk at our year-end meeting, we were talking about the traditional IRA, which is the one that a lot of people have where they get a deduction on what their contributions are. And then we talked about the Roth IRA, where they don't get a deduction on their contribution, but when it's time to retire, they can pull all the money out tax-free if they hold it for 5 years or more, and they're over 59 and a half. So then what we did was we coupled that executive bonus strategy that you are so excited about for your business to have that deduction. And also all money grows tax deferred inside of that account. And when it's time for you to pull it out, you can pull all money out tax free. And you do not have to wait until you're 59 and a half. Because you are the owner of that account and it's a non-qualified account, you can pull money out. If you decide to retire previous to 59 and a half, you don't have to wait, just like you have to do for those Roth and the traditional and the 401ks.
Now, Kim, you just dropped some nuggets on us, because that is one of those strategies to wealth. A lot of wealthy individuals are using this tax-free retirement strategy that, and that's why I want to have these conversations, because I want to say a lot of small business owners just do not know about this strategy, that you can have a strategy where you can build wealth tax-free, because saving money on taxes actually is part of a wealth building strategy. But this is awesome information that you just gave us.
Yeah, and then I get a chance to talk with my friend Dee, And and we figure out how to make those coins multiply. And
Right.
so I have a book for you as well, the Tax-Free Retirement Strategies. So you can join me with reading. And then also some of your clients that are online with us now, or either while you're helping them throughout the year, we can introduce them to it as well, because you being the guru who you are, you're constantly dropping nuggets, constantly helping people. And so they really need to maximize on this information. But the key is, D, it is a insurance vehicle. And so people do have to be in good health, sound mind, and strength to qualify for the executive bonus that you introduced to the folks that are online with us.
All right. Okay. And why is tax planning so important when investing and building wealth for yourself and for your family?
Oh, you asking some good questions today. You are asking some good questions today. So taxes, just imagine this. Okay. Imagine being in a relationship and you weren't even clear that you are in a relationship, because you're beautiful. And so just imagine if somebody is going around and they saying, you know what, I'm in a relationship with D. And D is like, I'm in a relationship. I'm in a relationship. When did that happen? So that's how the IRS is. The IRS is in a relationship with everyone. Everyone. The IRS is right here. You remember back in the day where this guy on Facebook, he was messing around with his fake girlfriend and he was holding his arm out like this. This is how the IRS is with us. Well, we hand in hand when it comes to our retirement, when it comes to our saving and investing, when it comes to anything we do, the IRS taxes is right there, real cozy with us. So we have to create some situations where they're not as cozy with us. Okay, maybe we do work on a job where we have a 401k. We understand, all right, the IRS is going to be in my pocket. Okay, when my money grows, it grows tax deferred. I don't necessarily have to worry about the IRS at the time when I'm still working for my employer. My money is growing tax deferred, but I don't have to worry about them now. But once I retire, I'm in a serious relationship with the IRS, because once I start withdrawing those dollars from those qualified accounts that have been growing all that time tax deferred, the IRS is waiting for their payday. And another day they're waiting for, besides you becoming 59 and a half and you deciding to take your money because you retired, the IRS is also waiting when you become 70 and a half. Now, because of the coronavirus, they pushed back the age where we don't have to take our required minimum distributions at 70 and a half. We can push them back until age 72 if you haven't already started taking your required minimum distributions. But trust and believe, if the IRS is your boyfriend, he is waiting for that day.
I'm trying to figure out what am I in that situation, but I'm gonna have to leave that
so
conversation alone. But so tax planning is, I know you said like the IRS is like your boyfriend, but what I know, like with my clients, I know like towards the end of the year with business clients, they should do tax planning, because what we're doing is we're being proactive versus reactive. So if you made money in your business, instead of you paying your boyfriend or, doing all this stuff for your boyfriend, you find a way to control the relationship or make it like solid. Like I'm going to make this relationship with.
I'm Arsenio Hall doing this to Oprah right now. Go Oprah.
I'm going to put some like boundaries in place with this relationship.
Yes.
I'm in a relationship with the IRS, but I'm going to put boundaries because you're not going to get all my money.
Come on.
I'm going to be proactive and plan it. So a lot of business owners don't understand that, honestly, your relationship with your accountant, it's twice a year. And then I'm going to bring Kim, because Kim is not only my personal financial planner, but she's my business associate. So what happens is, as I'm working with the businesses throughout the year, giving them those profit and loss statements, making sure that they're eligible to get bank loans and they stay ready. They stay bank ready. So what happens is, after the business that I work with towards the end of the year, we kind of look at that profit and loss, and maybe they're at 50,000, I don't know, 50K, or maybe it's 100K. Sometimes some businesses I work with have a profit of $100,000. And so then with tax planning, instead of, if you're in a like 30% tax bracket with the IRS, instead of writing the IRS a $30,000 check, and honestly, it could be more. So instead of you having $100,000 of income, multiply that by 30%. And so instead of writing the IRS a $30,000 check, I'm going to suggest we do tax planning. So in tax planning, we think of what are some common deductions that we could have or strategies we can implement that help reduce our tax bill. So Kim is like my person, that my business associate that I work with. If I have a client and they had a lot of profit, my next call is to, after we go over what are some deductions like hiring your kids and renting your home and etc. Then we go to Kim, and then we're like, I like retirement, the tax-free retirement strategies. There's a strategy called overfunding of insurance. And I know you have to be healthy mind and body, but there are some business deductions that working with like that executive bonus plan and some other SEP IRA. There's some other plans that we can implement that give us a tax deduction. So for example, if I set up a SEP IRA for $25,000, I get to put money away for retirement. And now I'm going to pay taxes on $75,000. So Kim, maybe tell us about some of these products or different things that entrepreneurs could invest in or work with you that help them reduce taxes, or just are smart moves, that are just smart wealth building moves.
And I like the way you said, let's put some boundaries around this tax relationship. And the first boundary that a self-employed person can put up is the SEP IRA. When you have a self-employment pension plan IRA, being self-employed, that's the phenomenal thing to do, because right now you have set yourself up for success. You have your systematic saving strategies, as well as with the SEP, it's not an insurance-based program. If you aren't in good health, sound mind, and strength, you can still have your SEP IRA because you don't have to qualify for it because it's not an insurance-based program. But with the SEP IRA, you can have it, you can put $1 in, or you can put $55,000 in. It doesn't necessarily matter, because once you put this in place, you call the shots, you put the boundaries in place, and it's based on your profits that your profit and loss statement shows at the end of the year. Like a lot of people that Dee and I work with, they do it at the end of the year. Once they have looked at their books and they've analyzed everything and they see exactly where they are and everything is all said and done, then from that point, this is the time to go ahead and put that money. Matter of fact, we're at the end of the year. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Okay, and so I have two last questions. My first simple question is, where can we buy that tax strategy book that you mentioned? And then I'll say that first. Where can we buy that tax strategy book that you mentioned, the tax-free retirement?
Well, Dee, I got a copy for you.
Oh, you do? Okay, thank you.
You don't have to worry about. Are you asking that question because you would like?
Someone in the chat asked. Someone in the chat asked.
Oh, okay. It's on Amazon. So it's by Patrick Kelly. So it should be on Amazon. But my business mentor, Dr. Roger Salter from Sandmar Financial Network, he gave this to me years ago to study. And so I'm assuming that it is still on Amazon, but if it's not, D and I can work to get whoever it is that would like a copy, because everybody needs it.
Okay, and then my last question for you, is there one type of account that's better to accumulate wealth than any other? Is there any one account that's better to accumulate wealth?
No, because if you're building your financial house, it's certain different things that you need in your house. You need your rock solid foundation for your house because you don't want to build your house on sand. So it's certain accounts that fill that need, such as insurance programs. On the door of your financial house, that's your cash reserve. We go in and out of that door all the time because of different situations arise. So we have to make sure we have at least 9 to 12 months of cash reserve set aside in there. So we would use something like a money market or a government security mutual fund for that. On the first floor of our house, in our living room, we have our short and our mid-sized goals on that floor of our financial house. So we may use some stocks for that. And I love that E-Trade platform right now. And just to let you know, this is the time to jump in. If you're doing double dutch on those stocks and you're trying to understand which way to go, let's talk, because I know for a fact we need to talk. And then on the top of your financial house is your long-term goal. So you might use your SCP or you might use your Roth or something like that. So that's my long answer to that question. Okay. So there really isn't an account that is better for you. It all depends on what your short and your long-term goals are. It depends on your risk averseness or how you feel about risk. And then also it depends on how you want your financial life to be.
All right. Well, thank you, Kim. Can you let us know how we can find you and how we can work with you and etc.?
Well, I'm Kimberly Thomas. You can find me at kimcointernational.com. And then also once you go to my website, just fill in the information so you can fill in your information so you can download the retirement strategies. Some of them that we talked about today are on my website. And then also you can always get a hold of me through going through Deanna Grant, because that's my go-to person when it comes to my taxes and my bookkeeping.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. All right. So next we have Linda Murray Bullard. And so Linda, if you can please join us. Yes, I'm so excited to have you. Can you unmute? Oh, there you go. Thank you, Linda. Thank you for joining us. Now, Linda is the business plug. I love Linda. Linda has like a Southern charm. However, she's a project manager. She's not playing about business. And when you need to get plugged in and get your business off the ground, Linda is the go-to person. Now, Linda, can you please introduce yourself to us? And thank you so much for joining me for this wealth building conversation.
Sure. Well, first, let me tell you that I've enjoyed the conversation. I mean, from Don to Kim, I mean, I'm learning so much, and these are like power healers. So thank you. I feel privileged to be here. I'm Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug because I help men and women ages 34 and up to find how to put technology and best business practices in their business. I actually help them to find the resources they need in order to be scalable and to be sustainable.
Oh, wow. Now, that definitely is part of when you're building a business, we are creating wealth. But what I know Sharice actually had mentioned things about creating systems and scalable. So Linda is one of my business associates as well. And we always have very interesting conversations. And I know lately our conversations have been around planning. SWOT analysis.
Yes, yes.
And just being proactive. And that's my favorite words about this whole webinar today: proactive versus reactive.
Absolutely.
All right. So Linda, can you tell us more about these systems, or what are some systems that you have specifically helped entrepreneurs with, because, and why are having systems so important to scaling a business?
Absolutely. So the thing about it is I do an assessment of what they have and what they need. Most times people are doing all the grunt work themselves and they're not automating any of the tasks that they could be using so that they're working in building their businesses and not having to do the work in their businesses, right? And so I teach them systems like they may not have an accounting system. They may not have a CRM, a customer relationship management system. They may not have a way to do email marketing system. Like all of those systems can be working for them where they're probably sending one email, one inbox. They're probably tagging all their friends. You know, they're probably working in secret.
Yeah.
These are the things. These are the things that I see people doing when they don't know. So I teach them about how to put systems in place so you don't have to. Russell Brunson calls it the NFL club, where you lose all your friends. There's no friends left because you've tagged all your friends, and that's your marketing strategy. And I teach them, no. You have systems that can do that the right way so that you don't irritate your friends.
All right. Now, super excited. I want to talk about annual planning. I really
Okay.
want to talk about that. Like, I feel like there's a quote, something about piss poor planning gets you some kind of results. I don't know, some kind of old
Get your
fashioned
piss
quote.
poor results.
Yes, yeah, get you poor results when you don't plan. And when you have a business, you must plan. And actually, like I find, like I said, my mentor, he's our mentor, but our mentor says you could hustle your way to your first 6 figures. But then after that, you must implement strategy and planning. So
Yes.
Linda, please tell us, like, could you explain what an annual plan is for a business, and kind of what are some of the thought processes that go into that, and how a business owner should start that process? Or what is that? What is that exactly?
Absolutely. So the annual plan is just what it says very explicitly. It is planning out your year. So you're not working by the seat of your pants. You're not being thrown here and there. You're actually sitting down and you're looking at the trendings of historical trendings, and you're putting it together in 90-day increments. You're putting plans together. Like, look at what you did in January 2019. And we know COVID has affected us. And so we understand that. But you want to look at your, like the previous counselor talked about, I want to look to see what's going on in 2018, 2019, because those were normal years. Like 2020 is going to be an outlier because of all the different things that happen within it. But if you want to look at your business strategically, you want to look at historical trends. So sitting down and seeing where your wins are, seeing where your losses are, understanding what the market was like, understanding your industry, what's happening on the national scale, as well as on the local scale, understanding how to do a SWOT analysis, right?
SWOT analysis. What is that, Linda?
Yeah. So the SWOT analysis is SWOT. So that S and W are internal. You're looking at yourself and your business. You're finding where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. And normally we've been conditioned to think that SWOT, that weaknesses is bad thing. But no, when you identify your weaknesses, you're able to work in your genius, and you're able to hire team where you're weak, they're strong. And that makes you stronger. The other part of that is external, is looking outside yourself and seeing that, what's in the landscape. What is your competitors doing? Do you know your top 4 competitors? And what are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? So what they're doing right becomes threats, because if you don't infuse your business with those tactics, then the market has already accepted those as the normal. So you need to infuse, see what they're doing right. You need to do it right too. And then the opportunities come in where you look at what they're doing wrong. And if they're like I had a client where she was working in a nursing's office, and she noticed that it took the people forever to get home after their appointments. She opened a non-emergency transportation business because she felt like she could get them home sooner. Like, what have you identified in the marketplace that you can put into work and infuse in your business?
So so SWOT analysis is your strengths, your weaknesses, your
Yes.
opportunities, and your threats.
Yes.
Wow. And as a business owner, I actually should take time to work on my business, not just in it, and identify what the SWOT. I should just try to identify the SWOT, but also with annual planning. What else do we do with annual planning? I know, like maybe knowing our mission and
Absolutely. So
yeah.
So there are three things every business needs. You need to know what your mission statement is. You need to know what your vision statement is. So a mission statement is where you are now. What's the purpose of your business? Why are you here? Like, what is it that your business does and why are you here? The second part of that is the vision statement. Where are you going? Like, where are you taking? You're driving. So where are you driving this business to? Because anybody that you heard from these lenders and you heard them say, you know, you need a business plan. We need to understand what you're doing. But where are you taking this business? That's the vision statement. The other part of that is you need to know what your core values are. Like, what are the no deal breakers in your business that these are my core values? A lot of time, if you're out there and you are haggling prices, like, you're not talking to your customer, first of all, but you also are getting with people who are not aligned with your core values. Like, you need to know what your scope is. I will only work in this scope with these people who are ready to move. It's when we try to get every dollar, we chase the money and not the purpose. That's when we get all out unaligned and we get all off ourselves, and we're mad because the customer is pressing, you know, want us cheaper, 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 but you're not talking to the right customers. So what are your core values? What is your vision? Where are you going? And why are you here?
All right, Linda, that is a word. And so now, do you help people with these annual plans or these business plans? Because this sounds like a lot of work, but it sounds like it's something that I need for my business to be stronger. It sounds like this is something that I need.
Absolutely. And so here's the thing. If you want to continue to fly by the seat of your pants, don't play it.
And we all have done, I don't know, I've done it. I don't even want to, I just want to be transparent. I have flew by the seat of my pants. And now that I'm strategically trying to scale Grants Financial, I realize that I need an annual plan. Like, I want to be big businesses plan out 5 years in advance. I at least feel like with a growing, scaling business, you should plan out at least 1 year in advance. Yeah.
Absolutely. And ideally 3. Ideally three, but COVID changed the game. So we have to, so we have to recognize COVID for what it came here to be. But 90 days, so you plan out a year, you plan out 12 months, but you're doing it in 90-day increments. That means in 90 days, you're coming back to the table, you're seeing what worked, what didn't, you're making adjustments, and then you're completing the next 90 days. Like, you're doing it in steps. You're not just out here doing anything and everything. You're actually capitalizing on those things that work in your business so that you're able to build and scale.
So I'm taking time after the first 90 days, I'm actually taking time to review what happened in those 90 days. I review what happened, and then I reassess.
Absolutely.
And then I go on to my next 90 days. So then after a whole year's time, and I'm sitting with me and me, I think that everyone should do not only should we schedule with you for the annual planning session, but you should probably have one CEO session just with yourself.
Absolutely.
Just with yourself, just so you can understand, well, what is my gift to the world, and what is my intention and plan for this next year. And I want to say, Cherie, she knows Q1, she's implementing fund finders. It's very proactive business owners plan. Absolutely. They have a plan and strategy.
Yeah, you're the visionary of the business. And if you're not the visionary of the business, you need to get a visionary for your business, because you should be seeing out there. That's the thing about and understanding a team. So when we're planning, we're also talking about your team. We're making assessments. So we're not picking up poo-poo them. Pookie them, we love them. They're our family members. We love them. We wrap our arms around them. But we're not relying on people who don't have the skill sets in order to make business decisions, to be in key places making business decisions. Your team need to be people who bring assets to the table, that where you are weak, they are strong. So not just money, but they need to have access. Your business needs access. You need some people to open some doors, do more than just warm a seat. Your board, your team, these people need to be actively on board to do the same thing that you're doing.
And your business, and same with your business associates. I know Sharice was
Absolutely.
like, you have, because honestly, I have all of you guys. I put this webinar on just because I wanted to share the gift that I get all the time. I have all of these fabulous associates that I talk to about different aspects of business, because business is not just one-sided. It's not just about tax and accounting, although I love talking about that. I want people who work with me to focus on their financials, but also like there's other conversations. So there's annual plan, there's grant opportunities, there's contract opportunities, there's having a relationship with your banker, there's having a financial planner and putting some of that money away. There is a lot of things that we have to talk about and discuss in business, but I wanted to, I definitely want to have you on because I want to have all my guests on because I feel like I don't want to say average person, but a lot of business owners don't have the gift of having strategic associates that you
Absolutely.
can talk about money with. You can trusted advisors that you can talk about how am I going to scale my practice, that think very focused and that are subject matter experts and et cetera, et cetera.
and that's important, right? Because like right now, I'm focused on helping people get grant money, right? That debt-free money, because this is the end of the year. And so you have businesses trying to close their books for 2020, where they're trying to get rid of some money so that they can get some write-offs.
So we have like some big corporations, some
Absolutely.
larger corporations that want to close their accounting books for the year, and they are giving away grants. Tell us more, Linda. We want to hear more about that.
No, so lean in, you guys. And I don't want you to miss this. Lean in, lean in. Because the thing about that is you have corporations giving away money, and then you have nobody there to take it. Like nobody there that's wanting to do that. And so I'm teaching businesses how to get set up so that you can be receptive of the money. And then secondly, I'm teaching them who's giving the money away. I mean, that's my whole Black Friday sale right there. I'm telling people, hey, this is how you get the money. And this is who has the money for you to get. Because corporations want to help our communities. They want to help our businesses. And we're not structured in a manner where we can receive those blessings.
Yeah, now I have like a true story. I'm not going to say exactly who it is, but I had someone that texted me, and I want to say they were like, wah, wah, wah. I want to say that they're a business owner. And they're like, how do I have an accountant, but I can't get Hennessy's giving out some money? Like one of these grant people are giving out 25K, 50K, and why can't I get the money? And I said, I'm not a tax preparer. I'm going to say I'm a tax professional. Okay. But I said, the way that you're working with me is like a tax preparer. You come for your business gets nothing else. You get no bookkeeping, you have no tax strategy, you have no tax planning. You're coming once a year to get your taxes done, and then probably implementing, I said the little entrepreneur that cried wolf, then you're implementing the expense strategy. The expense strategy is to write off everything from the kitchen counter to the carpet or whatever it is. You're writing off everything. So then now it's time to get the grant. And you're like, maybe you're even a corporation or something, and you've been filing your taxes on your 1040. There's a lot of stuff that business owners just are not doing properly. However, if you want to grow, you want to scale, you must have proper documentation in
Absolutely.
order to grow and scale your business. Or the grant, like you said, you're helping business owners set up, make sure they have the appropriate paperwork set up. Yes. So that they can actually access these grants. That's huge.
Yes. Because what happens is, I mean, if your business is not making a profit, who wants to give to a sinking ship?
Yeah, that's a
nobody's investing. Nobody's investing in a sinking ship out here, and nobody's investing in dreams that you have not vetted out. Like people want what, and can I say the federal government is not giving you money to start businesses. That's the number one question I get all the time. No, they're not doing that. However, if you've been out here working and you actually have a viable business and you have proof of concept and you've been doing, because I find most times people have already been doing what they do for years and years and years for free. And then now they've started a business. And so now we can pull from those things they used to do, and we can create them a credible business grant proposal. And that proposal, they can rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Because once we get you scheduled up, once we get you up, then you can rinse it as many times as you need to get the money that you're looking for. But the thing about it is people want to get the grants before they get to do the work. And that's simply not how it works.
All right. Well, thank you, Linda, for everything. Now, can you tell us how can people get in contact with you and et cetera? And somebody asked, will I post all of my, I'll say co-hosts today? Will I post all the information? The answer is yes. We will definitely post everyone's contact information so you guys will be able to access them. But Linda, how can we access you at a later date?
so they can get me by Linda Murray Bullard. I am on all social media. I'm either there by my name, Linda Murray Bullard, or I'm there by LSMB Business Solutions, which is my company. So if you do either of those, you can Google them, you can do Facebook, all the social media platforms, but I'm out there. But it's to help business owners learn how to do business well.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you, Linda. Thank you. It's been a pleasure and joy.
Thank you so much. You have a great evening.
You too. Have a great evening, great day. Okay. And so now I'm introducing my final guest. It is Angie Tone, right? CPA. And I know definitely Angie does tax resolution special. She's a tax resolution specialist, or she has to tell me how to properly say that. However, Angie is another one of my associates. She is phenomenal. She's an expert at tax planning. She is an expert at accountable plans. This, if you have an S Corp, how do I have this accountable plan that I could set up for my business so that I can get additional tax write-offs? And she also does tax controversy work, which is where if you owe the IRS, I don't know, $100,000, then I can negotiate that tax burden liability down. So Angie, please introduce yourself even more properly and explain what you do, who you are, and etc.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. What you're doing is awesome for the community. You know, we need this, right? And the first thing I'm going to do is apologize for the background noise. My kids are playing games over there. I couldn't get a nice private area, but hopefully you can hear me well enough. Basically, in a nutshell, I create strategies for small business owners who need to get the IRS off their backs and out of their pockets. So we're going to do things legally and it's effective and so forth to get our tax liability as low as possible.
All right, so that's awesome. Okay, so we're talking about wealth building today, right? We're talking about wealth building. So I want to know, how does the amount of tax that we pay affect our wealth?
Well, as you know, hopefully people know there's a formula to building wealth, and it starts with money. Cash is king, always will be king. We got to have that cash flow. So the money is coming in, but we want to retain as much of it as possible. How do we do that? Well, when you put it in the proper products, hopefully you have a professional in place, you're having financial advice, you're having tax advice, etc. You have the time value of money. So that the more time you have, the younger you are, the earlier you start, the better it is. Otherwise, the older you are, the more cash you have to put in. If you're not working, get a job. If you can't get a job, start a business because you need that cash to come in. Then there's the rate of return depending on the products you put it in. Stock goes up, money goes up. Stock goes down, money goes down. So you don't want to only be in accounts like just stocks and bonds and things like that. You want real estate. You want different types of assets. So that's the rate of return. Then there's inflation. That's always the case. It's about 3%. That's going to eat away at your money. But guess what? The other minuses that people never think about, tax. So you have to get this money, more for me, less for Uncle Sam, by implementing the correct strategies. That's how taxes affect your wealth building.
All right. And then you were saying something about having the right professionals, because I feel like everyone has the thought of wanting to build wealth. Like we like that, like, oh, wealth building, I want to build wealth. but sometimes we're not choosing the right professionals to help us with that goal. So for example, I was talking about the tax preparer versus tax professional or CPA. Basically, sometimes and one of my quotes that I have is loyalty does not save you tax dollars. Because sometimes what happens is a business owner starts with whoever was doing their personal taxes. And when they had a W-2 and a kid, that was fine to go to that person. But now that you have a business and you want to build wealth and implement strategy, you must seek the right professionals. Now, you mentioned that in your wealth formula. So who are the right professionals? Because I think you said, I know you said a tax and maybe as a financial planner. I just want to like dummy this down so that people understand what is that, the right professionals. What is that?
Deanna, I'm sure you are familiar with how unappreciated we are as tax professionals. We're disrespected in many ways because we feel that we pay for a preparation service and we feel, hey, how come no one ever told me I could hire my kids? How come no one ever told me I should be deferring my income, capital gains? How can I, reduce this liability? And that's because we don't recognize it's a separate service. And what ends up happening is you want to pick the accountant's brain for free. I mean, it's like calling a physician and saying, hey, I got this pain in my, can you just, can I pick your brain and kind of figure out what? No, you make an appointment and you pay this professional. Same for an attorney when you want legal advice. And people don't recognize that their tax preparer is just that, a preparer of taxes. You have advisors, you have accountants, you have bookkeepers, you have people who represent in front of the IRS and or the state if you have a tax issue. So there are many facets to an accountant, a preparer, and all these different types of finance positions. You have to be able to recognize and be willing to invest in yourself and in your business to grow your wealth.
Right, because this is just to me like I don't want to call it the catch-22, but it's like you want to make a lot of money, but the unwillingness to invest in the right person. Or if I tell someone, hey, well, to get that tax planning or whatever it is, or even just a basic business strategy session, well, the price of that is X. Then you get these like deer in headlights, like what? But like you said, I'm just trying to reiterate, like you said, if you had a toothache, one, when as soon as you call the dentist, first and foremost, you can't text the dentist, you can't email them, yeah. You can't call the line. All you can do is make an appointment for that professional service. And then you already know it costs something. More than likely it's $300 or more. For whatever issue you have, it's going to cost something because it's a professional service. And back to just like tax, like professionals in the accounting profession, there's different facets. Just like the medical doctor, there's a heart doctor, there is a ear, eye, throat doctor, there's a foot doctor, there's an eye doctor. Well, there is tax preparer, there's, tax advisor, there's tax strategist, there's CPA, there is tax resolution, a person that focuses on tax resolution. There are people that focus on manufacturing companies. There are accountants that do CFO's work. Yes. There is like tax planning, tax strategy. There's all different facets of this accounting professional. It's not a one person does everything. Sometimes we associates, actually, with my associates, I work in tandem. If that's not my area of expertise, then I will refer you to, just like the doctor does, I'll refer you to that subject matter expert because I don't have to know everything, but I know how to get you to the right person.
That's correct.
So, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the resolution since a few people are asking questions about that. The thing is, with resolution work, or what really the legal term is, representation in front of the IRS and or the state. By the way, the taxing authorities hate dealing with the layperson. They don't like dealing, and you're not going to get your best service or attention if you try to do it yourself. Most times you're going to mess it up and make the liability worse. You're not going to be aware of certain abatements that are available to you, the so-called Fresh Start program. What does this mean? And you alluded to this before, when tax payers are now filling out their Schedule C and their deduct the expense method or whatever. They're taking advantage of things that might not necessarily be honest or legal, because they're just interested in deducting. And by the way, that is not always the good line, because when you look at the bottom line and you're in a net loss, is that building wealth? What bank wants to deal with you? Right? What partners want to deal with you? Not even customers really want to come to you when you can't even be prosperous yourself. You know, that to me is hypocritical. So there's two things a third year accounting student learned. One, tax evasion is illegal. The second thing is tax avoidance is legal. Yeah. And that's where you sit up straight and you're like, it almost sounds like the same thing, but avoidance is legal. That's where you take your rightful credits and deductions that you are entitled to take to reduce your liability legally. And that audit proofs you.
Okay. And so back to, I just want to ask one quick question about this tax, because I know you're a boss at this tax resolution and tax planning, as well as tax strategy, but because your practice has a niche in tax resolution. Absolutely. Right? Okay, so do I have a common question? Because I know people, they need to schedule you, book you, etc., for any type of like serious questions. But is it possible? Is it possible if I owe the IRS $100,000, I'm 45 years old, is it possible for me to negotiate and get a resolution?
There absolutely is. It's almost what happens, people get that notice from the IRS and they turn into a pillar of salt. So doing nothing is absolutely the worst thing. So already you have to engage the professional and start you're almost always, never say always, but you're almost always going to have the best deal when you proactively engage in this issue. You have to call the authorities and start working it out. So depending on your situation, someone has to analyze by pulling transcripts and knowing your situation, your goals, your age matters, as you mentioned, and there may be strategies available to that you don't even know, that you can abate penalties and so on and reduce your liability. Yes, it is possible. It's almost never that you're going to pay that full $100,000.
All right, especially if we call you.
Shoot, yeah. Because guess what? I like to fight the IRS, and more importantly, I like to win.
You're a caring person and honest and trustworthy. Because I want to say, like, you see all those commercials about it'll be on the radio. We will eliminate your tax debt by blah blah blah, and you're kind of like, you hate to do that, but I wanted to have this conversation with you because I know you are a real life CPA, tax resolution specialist, tax planner, tax strategy person that actually is honest and can help someone when they're in that issue, or at least guide them through the right things to do.
Yes.
To help get some support and to negotiate that debt.
Yeah, let's talk about those ads, right? Because that's it's seductive, because nobody wants to really pay a whole lot, especially if most people are honest and really would pay their fair share. But life happens. We have death, divorce, disasters, things going on that's going to cause you to have these problems. Now, what those types of firms do, they like to, what I call, kick the stone down the road. In other words, they want to keep you paying them monthly and not really solve the problem. But when you take on a rep work, somebody who's honest with integrity is going to plug the front. Okay, what caused the problem in the first place? What can we do so that we don't have to deal with this? Like, as soon as we finish all of this mess, it's still creating more mess going forward. So we need to plug the front and do the right thing. Some people are under withholding. Some people are not paying estimated taxes. Some people are just, not doing the things that they're supposed, or deferring properly, or have the right strategies in place. And that's what's causing the problem. Plug that, and then we work backwards. Work on the history. and then get you the best solution.
Now, one thing I will say, like I said, I don't do tax resolution work. I definitely will be referring everyone to you. But what I want to say is I have had clients who have successfully had an offer in compromise and it's been successfully completed. But what I like about that is now they cannot be late on their taxes. Like they have to, you can't under withhold, you have to pay. It's like all the stuff that business owners and individuals should do, like having sufficient withholdings from your W-2, paying your estimated tax payments, and filing your taxes on time. You have to do it to keep your deal. Is that true?
That is absolutely true. You have, there are rules. I mean, why are they going to forgive you if you're going to keep creating the same problem? So you have to be in compliance, yes. But let's look at it. Most people have, there's something out there to work with the person to get them back into compliance and doing the right things. And let's say you are paying, you probably are paying too much if you've never had a plan. And that's where this kind of professional comes in, right? Once, I mean, I have clients where I've fixed the issue, and then now we can do planning, was what they were trying to do in the first place, reduce their liability, but incorrectly. Now we're going to show them the correct way to reduce the liability so that more for me, less for Uncle Sam, right? Legally.
Right. More for me, less for Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam, that's correct.
That's awesome. Okay, now, is it too late to lower my tax liability for the year 2020? What do you think?
Okay, we got a little short space. We were in November, we're at the end of November, but you still have a couple of pay periods. So if you're just a W-2 worker, you can still, if you have a 401k already, you can try to defer some. If you think you're making too much money, try in the last couple of pay periods, put away the money if you don't. And these are people who are highly compensated and have nothing else. That's what they need to do. You can max out your HSA if you haven't. These are people who didn't do it during the open enrollment.
So you HSA, you have to tell us what that is.
Health savings account, right? Some people are more familiar with the flexible savings account. I'm not a fan because if you don't use it, you lose it. Whereas the HSA, money goes in tax-free, it grows tax-free. And when we use it for qualified medical expenses later in life, tax-free, this is money that is never taxed. If you're a healthy person, it's good for you. So there may be some limitations as to why a person wouldn't do it. And that's where you need a planner to tell you.
So do you think we should like maximize that annually since we can have future benefit of this HSA?
In a lot of situations,
health savings account, everyone.
Correct. The younger you are, the more healthy you are, the more I'm like flabbergasted that everyone doesn't do it, because you're paying high premium for a low deductible when you should have a high deductible plan, something that you'll never need. But people get caught up in that high deductible number and buy their health insurance based on that. If open enrollment is gone, you're likely not to be able to do it. But let's talk about business owners, because business owners, if you're already making a lot more than you thought you were going to make this year, stop billing your customers and try to like leave the last month and buy stuff that you know you're going to need in January, prepay stuff. Get that. We're calendar year taxpayers, most likely cash basis taxpayers. That means when the money moves, that's when we get to claim it, deduct it, earn it. So when the calendar 12/31 comes, pencils down.
So we want to defer the income, and accelerate expenses. Is that what we want to defer income, accelerate expenses?
If we're business owners, we have a lot more options to us for that we're available to do.
And that's why business owners should schedule tax strategy and tax planning sessions, which are separate than the tax preparation process.
Correct. Tax codes favor business owners.
Now, what'd you say, Angie, again?
Tax codes favor business owners.
They favor business owners. Yes, yes, yes. All right, and here we go to the magic question of the day and of this year, right?
Yes.
So, is it possible, Angie, is it possible to pay only $750, like that man that we know, $750 and no personal taxes, as somebody that we know that we've hopefully is moving out of office currently? Is that like, what's going on with that $750 thing?
Yeah. So without actually seeing his return, I can't really say, but I'm going to tell you this, the same codes that are available to him are available to all of us as taxpayers. So the problem is we don't know what those strategies are. We need to know what the codes are saying and what we can and cannot deduct. He has a team of, he plus other high level executives or whatever, like Bezos and all these other guys that you hear, oh, they don't really pay tax. So guess what? They have the money to also invest in themselves and pay their team. People pay me to do that. Don't be mad at him for that.
They
Be mad
got
at
a
him for
team of
something else.
advisors and strategists, and they're proactive. Just like we were talking about Linda and a business plan. Well, there's planning for not only wealth building, but the taxes. So he has a team of someone such as yourself, Angie,
Yes.
someone such as yourself that would help to plan and create a strategy to reduce those business taxes.
Correct.
Or just taxes in general.
Correct. Yes. A lot of different things. So it's also the strategies we talked about. So let's give an example. If you have a tax plan, people will look, let's say it's about an average for a regular married filing joint, a couple to come in and do a tax strategy is about $3,000 to do a tax plan. So it's not cheap, but guess what? On average, you're going to save about $15,000. And guess what? It pays over and over every year, putting $15,000. So $3,000 to get, say, 15 or more. And over the years, you can actually have a lot more in your pocket. More for me, less for Uncle Sam.
More for you, less for Uncle Sam. But it's also mindset. Now, this I come across this all the time working, because I work with a lot of small business owners, and I want to say money mindset. And what happens is sometimes they rather pay, it's like you rather pay more in taxes than pay for the professional service. It's because I know this year I started to offer tax strategy, tax planning, and now Angie, don't kill me. I have it at a low. I'm not trying to I have it at a low rate because I'm introducing it this year to my clients, because I had just been so busy in the tax preparation part of the business. And so now that I'm starting to work with more, I want to help business owners create wealth. And so you can't just only do preparation. You must do strategy and planning. So I'm introducing it this year for the first time. So, but the point is, when I introduced it, there was a lot of not feedback, but it wasn't welcome. It's like, you want me to pay $1,000? It's like, you want me to pay even $3,000 to save 15? Guess what? You just put $15,000 in your pocket. It's not me trying to make more money. That's not what it is, because a professional, there's all types of CPE webinars, there's all types of stuff that you have to do, just like a doctor, to not only keep certifications, but also just to be the best at your craft. So you're constantly spending resources and time to get really good at your craft. But the opportunity cost loss. So you're that limited in mindset that paying this, whatever this fee is, and not understanding that you're ultimately going to save 15 to 30K in taxes. You mean to tell me you rather pay the IRS than to pay for, I find that, I don't even want to say the word, but there was one client, and I don't even want to say client, but one person, and I know they have a profit, 6-figure profit this year. And so then I said, hey, I can help you we can do some tax planning, and some of the ideas I discussed with, you helped me with, actually. You helped me and supported me with some tax planning strategies. And I was like, I could help you get your tax bill down.
Yes.
So I don't know what's going to happen at tax prep time, because I already know you about to owe a lot of taxes. And I tried to forewarn you that there were some things we could implement now to help reduce your tax bill. What can I
tell you 2 things on that? The first thing is education should be free. And I believe a lot of people, especially in our community, are not educated on what it is to have a tax plan. Second of all, there are the Madoffs out there, the scam artists.
Oh,
How do
yeah.
I know that this is something that I really am going to benefit from? It's hard for us to part with our money, our hard-earned money. And if we don't educate the people as to what value we're offering with a tax plan, it's going to take time. We're behind the 8 ball as a community. And so it's going to take time for us to respect professionals such as yourself and myself. You know, it's hard. I'm not going to say it's easy, but you know what? Eventually they'll get it. We just have to keep educating, doing things like this, like what you're doing. This opens people's minds and let them know that this opportunity is available. You don't have to be a millionaire to have advisors.
Right.
No.
Actually, but like you said, more for you, less for the IRS. More
Right.
for you, more in savings. There's increase in abundance when you work with the right professionals. Anybody, like I said, any of my guests today, like if you just work with the right advisor, you will have more. Now, Angie, please let us know, how can we get, thank you so much for joining me. I sincerely appreciate it. How can we get in contact with you? How can people get in contact with you for future reference or et cetera?
Sure, it was my pleasure to be here and help educate the audience. I have a 24/7 answering service. I put that number out there because sometimes you can't sleep at night because you have that pressing IRS issue or state issue for that matter. Is 703-972-5777. My organization is Angel Financial Services, and the website is you can write to me at Angie@angelfinancial.services, or angelfinancial.services is the website. I know that was a mouthful.
But it's a mouthful that's much needed, and that's what you'll feel like. You'll feel saved, and you'll feel like an angel, because you've been an angel and blessing in my life. I will say this, and everyone, Linda, Cherise, Don, and Kim, all of you all have been like I said, trusted advisors. It really helps to have business support from other, educated and smart people that know things that you don't know. I'm humble enough to even ask questions like, well, what do you think about this? Or I know Cherise, actually, we went over, I was thinking about HR, and she's not an HR consultant, but we had a conversation about, well, how should I structure this conversation with HR when I get an HR consultant? What are some of the things that I should say for my proposal or that I need? Because I'm very much a visionary. Like, I'm a visionary. So what that means is when you talk to me on a business level, I'm sprouting out. I want everything. But you have to have order, and you have to, especially when we're negotiating with, that's a whole nother session. But when you're negotiating with vendors and you never had to do that before, then you need to, be organized in your approach. I see Cherise came back on. I'm not sure she had a word to say about that. No, okay. Well, I think I'm going to end this session for today. I want to thank everyone for joining us on this wealth building conversation and this wealth building journey. Everyone will be sent the replay, and thank you so much, all my co-hosts. And thank you so much for everyone joining us. Thank you. I sincerely appreciate you. God bless.
Quick
Bye-bye.
question. Can we get a photo?
Oh,
with
question?
Can
Oh,
we get a
sure.
photo?
Oh, you want to do Q&A?
No,
photo.
Oh, you want to do a photo? Okay.
Yeah,
Linda got to come back on, show her face. We get Linda to show.
There were a couple of questions still in the chat that I looked at. Don and I answered a couple.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to see. So you want to do a photo?
Yeah, screenshot. And then also really quickly, Dana James asked Kim, do you have any resources on tax resolution? That one wasn't answered.
That question would be more for Angie. So
Yeah,
Dana, Dana, I'm going to connect you with Angie.
Okay.
Kim just had a book. Kim had a book about tax-free retirement strategies. And that's kind of what she had. But Angie is the tax resolution guru, negotiator, federal and state, federal and state issues.
Federal and state, and you will get an hour to just share just share and I'll tell you my best thoughts in 1 hour. You don't have to pay anything. It's complimentary to learn about you a little bit and see if we can put you on the right path.
Okay, so are there any other questions? Let's see, let me go to the Q&A. Let's see, any other questions? Any other questions, everyone? No other questions? Okay, I'm gonna sign off. Thank you so much for joining me, and talk to everyone soon. I'm gonna talk to everyone soon.
All right, have a great
Bye-bye.
weekend.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.